Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be making some mini Easter loaf. Remember, for all the ingredients and measurements, it will be listed down below in the description box. Now, here is what you will need for today's recipe. Now, here are the ingredients you'll need for today's video. I have some warm milk, I have cherries, finely chopped raisins, sugar. For spices, I'll be using some cinnamon, nutmeg. I have here some lemon zest and salt. I also have an extra piece of butter. I'll show you what you'll need that for in a few. You also need some vanilla extract, melted butter, yeast. I have eggs and my cheese. I'll be using some Gouda cheese. You can use any cheese of your choice. And here I have my all-purpose flour. This recipe will call for 3 1/4 cup of flour. What I have here is 3 cups of flour, and I added 1/4 cup in this bowl separate. So I'll show you what you'll need that for as well. To your warm milk, you're gonna go ahead and add in your butter here. We're gonna add in our sugar, our yeast, and eggs. And you also want to add in your vanilla extract. And because we are using instant yeast, we don't have to wait for the yeast to activate. Go in with your whisk and whisk everything together so that it can be nicely combined. Now we'll place this on the side and we'll bring our flour back to the counter. To your flour, you want to go ahead and add in all your dry ingredients here, your spices, and we'll add in our raisins and our cherries. Now mix to make sure that all the ingredients are combined. Now that everything is nicely combined, you're gonna form a well in the middle here and go in with about half of your mixture. Now you want to spread your finger and bring your dough together. We are looking for a sticky dough. Now go ahead and knead your dough for a few minutes until you're sure that all the ingredients are nicely combined and the entire dough has the same texture. Once you add the other 1/4 cup of dry flour, you will have the perfect texture. So now you want to go ahead and knead this for a few minutes. Now that everything comes together, I'm going to add a little bit of that flour, not a lot. You want to save some. We'll still need some more. And now we're going to scrape the bowl and we want to turn this out on our counter. So guys, now that we have our dough on the counter, we want to knead this. Our aim is to knead the dough until it becomes nice and smooth. Once I get to that texture, I will show you exactly what we are looking for. In the meantime, the butter and the flour that we have here on the side will help us to work the dough easily. So we want to make sure by the time we achieve that smooth texture, the butter must be evenly distributed within the dough. So to help you do that, you're going to go in with about half of it and you're going to start kneading this. It will also help you for the dough not to stick to your fingers. Just keep on kneading the dough like this and you will get to that nice smooth texture I'm talking about. While you're kneading the dough, keep on stretching it like this. When you feel like it's starting to stick to your finger or your hands and it's becoming very uncomfortable and hard to work with, you can either choose to add some flour or some of the butter. And you can use your bench scraper just to scrape all the excess flour that's sticking on the counter. Now when your dough has the right texture you're looking for, it will stop sticking to the counter, and that way you will know that your dough is getting there. Now this is the last of my butter and the last of my flour. I've been kneading this here for about 5 minutes or so already. So I have about 5 more to go. So notice how more and more we're kneading the dough. It's sticking to the counter less and less. That's when you know you're getting to the texture you're looking for. It will even stop sticking to your hands so much. So you will not need more of the butter nor the flour. So guys, this is the 10 minutes of kneading. Look at how smooth the dough has become. And my hands are clean. So if it wasn't to the texture that we need, then my hands will still filled with dough, pieces of dough, and it will still be sticking to the counter. So now I am sure that the texture I am looking for, I have achieved. So I'm going to just cover this now with a piece of damp bounty paper so that it doesn't form that dry, crusty layer on the top. And so guys, it's been 2 hours since my dough is resting, and I'm gonna start punching this down now. Now your dough will not have a high rise just because of all the cherries and raisins in it. The dough is a bit heavy, so it's not gonna have that high rise you're looking for. And in this bowl I have some cheese that I cut into small pieces because I'm gonna make them into small loaves. It's one of the reasons I have my cheese cut into strips like this. So we'll place this on the side, and we're gonna work on one dough at a time. You wanna try and get them into like a nice little square here. Now you just wanna flatten it a bit here, and then you're gonna take a piece of your cheese and just place it directly in the middle, and we're gonna cover this up here. You're gonna start pinching these here together to seal in the cheese. Now try to neaten it up, you know, like a nice little mini loaf. And you're gonna place this in your pan here like so. Now when you place them in the pan, you wanna give them about an inch space within each of them. And now I'm gonna continue this, and I'll come back and show you guys the next step. Now after you're done with that step, this is how they will look. You wanna place them on the side, and we're gonna allow them to sit again for another 35 to 40 minutes. You want them to rise a little bit before we place them in the oven. Now, while this is resting, we will go and continue with the next step. The next step is making a flour paste. This we'll use to pipe on the cross on top of the cross bun that it's known to have. Go ahead and add your water to your flour and mix it until it's completely smooth in texture. Make sure the consistency of the batter is not too thick, nor is it too thin where it starts running off the bun when you pipe it on. So the consistency I have here is just good enough for me. Before I'm ready to pipe this on my bun, I will show you how to test it and make sure that it's the right consistency. Now let's place this on the side, and we'll move on to the next step. Now to make your glaze that we'll need to brush the bun when it's finished, I have here some water coming up to a boil, and I'm going to add in some sugar. Now stir and allow it to cook on medium-low heat. We want to achieve a nice thick consistency. It shouldn't be too thick, nor you don't want it too thin. Now here's that nice thick consistency we are looking for. Adding the lemon juice to it as well will give you a nice citrus flavor and help the sugar not to become hard. Now after adding in your lemon juice, you're going to stir this and make sure everything is nicely combined, and you're going to turn your stove off, place this on the side, and we will proceed to the next step. So I went ahead and add in the flour paste that we made earlier into a Ziploc bag. You want to secure that there by tying a knot so that it doesn't run out when you're piping it on the cross bun. I'm using a Ziploc bag today because I don't have a piping bag. Now go ahead and cut a small hole on one of the corners of the Ziploc bag. We are going to test this to make sure that the consistency is, and as you can see, we have the perfect consistency. It's not too thin and spreading out. Now it's time for us to pipe this on our cross bun. Now after 40 minutes of resting my bun, I am going to pipe my cross on top of my bun before I place this in the oven. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake this until I achieve a nice golden brown on the top. Remember, if you want it to be darker, you can leave it a little bit longer. Depending on the temperature of your oven, yours may take a little bit longer than mine's took. So guys, after 40 minutes of baking, here's a look at my bun. I kept them in the oven for an extra 5 minutes just so that they can get a little bit darker on the top. Like I said, it depends on your oven. Yours may take a little bit longer than mine did. Now it's time to apply that glaze. Now you want to make sure you brush on the glaze while the bun is still hot. After you finish brushing on the glaze, we'll transfer them to a cooling rack. Now after cutting into one of our mini loaves, this is how it's looking on the inside. Now let's break into one of these and show you how delicious and soft it is on the inside. Now that brings us to the end of today's video. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet subscribed for more delicious recipe. From my family to yours, happy Easter!